Hi, my name is Abil Beckford, and I'm the host of The One Problem. We talk about one problem, not all the problems in the world. Why get overwhelmed? Guests come on, they present a problem, and they have 6 minutes to offer a solution. It's a way for all of us to learn from each other. Most of the people that I've had on as podcast guests, I have some sort of relationship with them. So this week, my very special guest is Dr. Marsha Carr. She's a professor of University of North Carolina, Wilmington. And I've known her for about 10 years. We're just trying to figure it out. So over to you, Marsha.
Thank you. So my problem today, I originally, when I talked to you, had a different problem. And because we can only discuss one, I changed my problem based on a news article yesterday. So the problem that I want to talk about today is bullying. And we think of bullying as predominantly online these days. We know of teenagers who are bullied. We know there's a high suicide rate associated with it. But I want to talk about just bullying in general, because the bullying that's taking place online has now moved into real world. An example that I give you is there was I think she's a senator that had an opposing vote that did not sit well with some individuals of her own party. And while she was performing her job, she went into the restroom. And individuals, females, followed her into the restroom. One of them had their camera and was videotaping. Now, this is in a women's bathroom. And the other one stood at the door of the stall and continued to harass her, reminding her that they could take her out of office because they put her in while she was using the restroom. Now, first of all, it is illegal to videotape in restrooms. And second of all, why would anyone think that this was an appropriate way to handle something if you disagreed? And this has nothing to do with parties in the US, what affiliation of a party. It has to do with bullying. So now, how do we solve something this horrendous? So I think that, first of all, it is a mindset right now that because when we're on social media, we are mean, we bully people, we say things that are inappropriate. And a guideline that we have to start looking at is, would we say that to the person if they were standing in front of us and we saw them as a human being? Would we write the things that we write online? Would we feel comfortable doing that? And I don't think that we would. So I think that we have to ask ourselves, we have to stop in situations like this. And we have to say, what is the professional way to disagree with someone? And what are professional ways to disagree with someone? I read a quote by Morgan Freeman, and I thought it was so appropriate. And I will mess this up, so my apologies to Morgan Freeman. It was all about that just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I hate you. And we have gotten to a place where it's hatred. If we disagree, then you hate me or I hate you. So how do we tell ourselves? How do we move into a more humane way to talk to each other? And I think it's taking a step back, taking a couple breaths, and seeing that person as a human. And just because they disagree with you doesn't give you the right to bully. And it is bullying. What I see online is bullying. what happened in that restroom to that senator is bullying. There is no other way to describe this. And even if you are bullying online, then don't carry it into your real world experience. You don't do it in reality. So I would advocate that we first just stop and take a breath. If you see something that you disagree with, just stop and think about it. What is a professional way to respond to that person? The other thing I would ask us to think about is, why is that person saying that? They may be saying something very hateful, very mean, but there could be a reason that's happened to them that day that has evoked them to say something like that. So ask them, I see that you're really upset by this. It's angered you. Can you tell me why? Or is there something going on in your life? I saw a thing that, and I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but apparently she deals with this all the time. And she actually wrote a song. I've never actually heard the song, I have to confess, but it was excerpts from her song were actually used in something I looked up on bullying. And her entire message was, if you are saying mean things to me and you're bullying me, then something is wrong in your life. Something is causing you to act like this. Are you okay? And that was her whole message, is ask the person, are you okay? And see if you can de-stress them or calm them down to the point where there can be a conversation. The other thing is, I got off of Facebook. I ended it. I couldn't handle seeing the bullying, the negative messages, the horrendous things that define us as a culture, that this was us. And I just said, you know what? I don't need this. I did try to intervene a couple times and ask people, you know, I disagree with you, but I'm not angry with you. I don't hate you. And there were times when they just kept calling me names and you couldn't even de-escalate it. So I got off. I just said, I don't need this in my life. But now I'm concerned that just getting off Facebook is not going to end it, or Instagram, or wherever else you're seeing it. Predominantly, I'm seeing it on Facebook. When it starts carrying over into our everyday life, then that's a bigger problem. And that story yesterday devastated me, to think that if I disagree with someone, and I realized that this was on a national level in the US, but I could disagree with someone and they could just come into the bathroom and harass me and videotape it. I can't imagine sitting in a stall and having someone stand outside videotaping me. It's like I would never come out again. So I just think that we need to take deep breaths. We need to become humans again, and we need to see the people in front of us as humans, whether it's in a Zoom meeting, whether it's on a Facebook chat, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And I acknowledge that the professionals and the legislative members and people in professional positions and government officials are not modeling that for us at all. And I totally get that, but we can get above that. We need to be accountable to ourselves for our actions. You should never bully someone. You should always treat them as humanly as possible, thinking that they may have had a bad day. Something horrible may have happened in their family and they're just lashing out and they need to do that. So be sympathetic, but own it and don't participate. Don't be a bully. Back to you, Abel.
Oh my, I mean, I'm speechless, but this is good that we're talking about it. And it's a very topical thing and it needs to be addressed. So thank you so much for highlighting that as the one problem.